3 antique keys, 1 cracked leather folder, and a single sentence from a royal lawyer detonated 15 years of quiet certainty inside Ravensmere. Camilla's son demanded the 4th line be read again, but Prince William was no longer studying the document. He was holding out the keys, not as a gesture, not as a compromise, but as a silent seizure. At that heavy wooden table sat Queen Camilla, her children, King Charles, and the Prince of Wales, and suddenly everyone understood that this was not family paperwork. This was the moment one side of the family realized the home they believed was waiting for them may never have been theirs at all. For 15 years, one dangerous belief had been allowed to settle over the royal household: that Ravensmere, a 12,000-acre estate, would eventually pass into Camilla's side of the family. Not a small retreat, not a sentimental cottage, but a grand Jacobean manor, 42 functional cottages, 2 working farms, a private lake, and rare historic paintings never publicly listed in any inventory. That detail matters, because hidden property inside royal families does not simply represent comfort. It represents status, permanence, and future power. And on that morning, the lawyers were about to say the sentence that changed everything. The proof of how confident Camilla's family had become was not in a legal deed. It was in the flowers. Staff had already begun calling one bright upstairs room Mr. Parker Bowles's study. Fresh, expensive flowers had been placed there that very morning, as though the room had already crossed from royal tradition into private expectation. That is the image that exposes the whole scandal: a room prepared for a future owner before the law had ever recognized him. By sunset, those flowers would reportedly be carried out, and with them went the illusion that quiet royal promises could defeat written inheritance. Then, Prince William arrived at exactly 8:46 in the morning, and his entrance was the first warning nobody understood. No public announcement, no grand procession. One dark vehicle slipped through Ravensmere's eastern gates, followed by 2 high-level royal solicitors carrying identical black document cases. William did not enter through the main doors. He ignored the grand staircase, the family rooms, the warm fires, and the waiting household. Instead, he crossed the cold gravel courtyard and entered through the old estate office, where land records had been stored since Queen Victoria's reign. That choice was not accidental. William was telling everyone, before he said a word, that this was not a family conversation. It was a legal confrontation. He had not come to debate feelings in a drawing room. He had come to the records room because that was where the weapon was kept. And once Camilla learned at 9:90 that he was inside the building, she reportedly assumed the discussion was about renovations. Why wouldn't she? The East Wing needed expensive structural work, 2 ancient lead roofs were leaking, and there had been detailed conversations about modernizing outer cottages for her extended family. That is where the betrayal begins to sharpen. King Charles had not formally transferred Ravensmere, but privately he had repeated 5 words that carried enormous weight: "You'll always have Ravensmere." Harmless on the surface, devastating beneath it. Because Camilla's family had not merely heard those words, they had acted on them. Architectural plans were drawn. Custom furniture was measured for old doorways. One relative discussed bringing expensive show horses to the southern paddocks. Camilla's son had even been shown the underground wine cellar and told which bottles belonged to the house and which could be freely opened. So imagine the shock when William placed a 6-page legal opinion on the table and quietly said, "None of you were ever beneficiaries." He did not say they had lost Ravensmere. That would imply they once had a claim. He did not accuse them of theft. That would make it emotional. Instead, he used the colder weapon, legal time. He reached backward through 15 years of assumptions and erased them. Every tour, every promise, every renovation discussion, every bottle in the wine cellar suddenly became meaningless. Not lost, never owned. Camilla entered the estate office just after 9:20. Charles followed minutes later, visibly irritated that this had not been handled privately first. But that irritation exposed the real power shift. Charles was angry about process. William was focused on law. Beside the lead royal solicitor, William rested one hand on a faded leather folder marked with the Queen Mother's crest. The moment Charles saw it, his confidence reportedly drained. He understood before anyone explained that this was not merely William challenging him. This was the past rising from the table. Inside that folder was the trap. Ravensmere was not Crown Estate property, and Charles had not bought it with personal funds. It sat inside a private family settlement altered 3 crucial times. The first change protected the land from sale. The second protected the historic house from demolition. The third protected the succession clause. Charles held only a life interest. He could use Ravensmere, live there, maintain it, host gatherings, and benefit from the working farms. But he could not permanently pass it to anyone outside the royal bloodline named in the original settlement. Then came the question Camilla's daughter asked. If Charles controlled it during his lifetime, why could he not decide its future? The solicitor opened the leather folder and revealed the answer that froze the room. That power had been removed before Charles married Camilla, not after. Before, someone had anticipated the second marriage, the blended family, and the possibility that Ravensmere could drift toward the Parker Bowles side. Everyone expected Queen Elizabeth's name. William did not give it. The binding change was signed in late 1999, 3 years before the Queen Mother died and 6 years before Charles married Camilla. Beside the Queen Mother's shaky signature was Princess Margaret's bolder one. And the clause was ruthless: no spouse, no child of a spouse, and no descendant unrelated by direct blood to King George VI line could ever gain permanent title, control, or beneficial ownership. That was the real checkmate. Camilla's family had not been rejected that morning. They had been blocked 26 years earlier. When Charles claimed he did not know, William produced the November 1999 document. For a few seconds, the king had no answer. And in that silence, Ravensmere stopped being a house, stopped being a promise, and became something far more dangerous. Proof that even a king can be trapped by the signatures of women who saw the future coming. William did not stop after exposing the 1999 succession clause. He moved directly to the next battlefield. And that is where the meeting became even more uncomfortable for King Charles. Charles insisted he had never intentionally tried to break the settlement. According to the discussion, the complicated legal language had been buried inside a wider financial restructuring of royal properties where Ravensmere appeared only briefly. He suggested he either misunderstood what he had signed or believed the arrangement could eventually be amended. But William had already anticipated that explanation. He reminded everyone that any amendment required trustee approval, and when Charles later explored changing the trust so Camilla's family could become beneficiaries, the proposal had already been reviewed and rejected. That rejection quietly established a new reality. Charles remained king, yet William had become the gatekeeper of Ravensmere's future. Charles reportedly refused to surrender immediately. If ownership could not be transferred, perhaps possession could. A second proposal emerged, suggesting a 99-year lease for only £1 a year. On paper, it appeared clever. The royal bloodline would technically retain ownership, while Camilla's family would effectively control the estate for generations. But the same legal framework built in 1999 had already anticipated exactly that possibility. Hidden within the settlement was another protection requiring unanimous trustee approval for any lease exceeding 21 years. William declined the request. In that instant, every alternative route closed. The trust, the lease, the workaround every path reportedly led back to the same locked door. That discovery changed the entire mood inside the room because it suggested this was no misunderstanding. Someone had examined the legal restrictions closely enough to search for loopholes. The Queen Mother and Princess Margaret had not simply blocked direct inheritance. According to the documents, they had reportedly anticipated indirect attempts decades before they happened. Every legal escape route appeared sealed before Charles even married Camilla. The family suddenly realized they were not arguing with William's personal opinion. They were confronting a strategy written nearly 3 decades earlier, one designed to survive changing monarchs, changing marriages, and changing loyalties. Most people would assume that ended the matter. It did not. 3 weeks after those legal proposals failed, private contractors reportedly arrived at Ravensmere. They ignored the leaking roofs that required immediate attention and instead concentrated on measuring residential areas throughout the West Wing. Historic kitchens were inspected. The nursery corridor was assessed for conversion into luxury apartments. The survey reportedly cost $18,400 and was charged to an estate maintenance account overseen by William himself. That single accounting entry transformed the dispute from family politics into trustee responsibility. William reportedly noticed one unusual expense while reviewing ordinary repair invoices. It was described as future occupancy adaptation. Curious about who this future occupant might be, he examined additional financial records. What he allegedly found escalated everything. Large custom furniture orders, including mahogany shelving and plans for a glass wine room, were reportedly placed under the Parker Bowles name rather than King Charles or Queen Camilla. According to the legal interpretation presented during the meeting, that documentation demonstrated preparation for permanent occupation despite the succession restrictions already confirmed by the trust. Conversations could always be denied. Financial paperwork could not. Edward had reportedly agreed to accept Ravensmere under one extraordinary condition. The estate would not become his private residence. Its income and resources would instead support wounded veterans, bereaved military families, and young people aging out of foster care. Rather than becoming another symbol of royal privilege, Ravensmere would reportedly become a charitable legacy. That decision completely changed the public narrative. Instead of appearing defeated by William, Camilla's family now found themselves unable to criticize Edward without appearing to oppose veterans and vulnerable families. The moral advantage had shifted just as dramatically as the legal one. The final moments inside Ravensmere reportedly carried even greater symbolism. William handed the 3 antique keys to Edward's solicitor. Each key represented a different section of the estate. The room once known as Mr. Parker Bowles' study was cleared before evening. The flowers disappeared. The prepared nameplate came down. The keys reportedly left their place beneath King Charles's portrait and were placed inside a simple wooden box. Resting inside was a handwritten note from Edward: "Let this house belong to those who need it." Yet, even after the keys changed hands, the biggest question remained unanswered. Had William simply enforced an old legal settlement? Or had he quietly redrawn the balance of power inside the royal family itself? Because if one forgotten document from November 1999 could overturn 15 years of assumptions at Ravensmere, many began wondering what other sealed papers, hidden settlements, and forgotten signatures might still be waiting inside the royal archives, ready to reshape the monarchy without a single public announcement.